good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be in the part of the world. This is Muhammad Chilan coming to you from North Carolina with my co-host, Mr. Victor Mangot in London, England. And this show is being produced from um, Canada. Now, first of all, let me start off with the fact that for the past 3 weeks, we have not had any show or broadcasting. That's because of a variety of reasons, part of which had to do with me having had some kind of medical process or procedure. So that added to it, and plus for some unforeseen occurrences. But we're back, and we're glad to announce that we're back, and we hope there will not be any kind of hurdle along the way. So it's nice to be back again. Today is May 28th, 2023. So we have some interesting topics we'll get for discuss. Part of the topics will be we go propose them. Then we'll go left and to now. We all will discuss them. Then we'll get a thing as to which we plan for talk about. The main topic is going to be the fall of the cotton tree in Freetown. And what, if anything, does that symbolize to Una? We know about the cotton tree. And so just call in, tell we your opinion, what you feel. We get your analysis what we'll get for do with respect to that. The political, social, cultural implications of the fall of the cotton tree. So before we do that, before I go to that, and allow me co-host for introducing himself, we get certain numbers that we normally can post or put on the screen for allow we listeners or participants them for call for tell we how them feel or make their own meaningful contribution. So if the control room can display them numbers in there, I'll be glad to repeat them so people will know what they are. Now we have a toll-free number. Let me start off with a toll-free number. We have a toll-free number of 866-944-7722. A toll-free number of 866-944-7722. Of course, there is a 1 digit in front of the 866. So it's 1-866-944-7722. Then the next digit, the next number will be if you're calling from the UK, you will call from plus, or you go call to plus 44 2080 891455. If you're calling from the UK, it will be plus 44 2080 891455. If you're calling for Australia, it will be plus 61 29 09 83 no 84 I'm sorry 337. Repeat, plus 61 29 09 84 337. And last but not least, if you call on WhatsApp, we'll get 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. In addition to that, of course, one can also follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. So these are other sources and media one can follow me as the broadcast proceeds. Also, just as a reminder, but people that will listen to it and know basic rules. First of all, the show is live. As I'm talking to you, people who are listening can hear me from wherever in the world and they're listening. and then get the ability for call in live, and make whatever contributions, suggestions, ask questions. Now, the basic rule, if you get comments, because people with comments tend to be very strongly opinionated, and so they can get more for talk than the time will allow. And I always explain, say, they allot 3 minutes to each caller, we get something for say. And then at the end of that 3 minutes, they will get a buzzer who will go on for tell you, say, your time is up. So we'll give you at the very most 15 seconds, which is not much time, but I will let you just wrap up. So what I have tried to tell people, if you get a lot more to say, take that 15 seconds there and wrap it up. Let us know you're not through, that you may come back and call back in. The reason why we don't want to put people in more than 3 minutes, let's say if we have 5 callers on the line and you happen to be number 5, and we allow people to go, even with the normal allowance of 3 minutes, it will take 12 minutes while you're on the line before we can get to you. And if we put the 15 seconds, that will be 13 minutes before we can get to you. So if we allow people to come on board and talk at length without being restricted, it will frustrate the last person on the calling chain. And 12 minutes to hold on is a long, long, long time if you're on the line. So we try our best, even sometimes in the broadcast or in the broadcasting, as soon as we get some indication that the line is about to start adding up, we can interrupt what you would say and go back and try to take a caller and another caller, so we can shorten the line, and so we can shorten the time for try to prevent people and what they call may not hold on for too long. Because sometimes people in the call from different circumstances. Some people are at work and they're on a break. Some people are on their way to work and get limited time on the road to arrive. So some people are going elsewhere, grocery store, somewhere. So we want to accommodate people in every circumstance as best as we can. So let's all work together. And I'm taking this time to explain that so people will understand that we are not deliberately engaged in any type of holding people in too long or trying to shorten what you get for say. Just call back. If you feel say you not say everything you get for say, we will take your call and we will try to deal with them as best as possible. Now, having said all of that, I'm going back to, as I said in the beginning, the Freetown cotton tree is such an iconic symbolism that it cannot go down without a show like we own commenting on it. It doesn't matter how many people have passed or made comments about it. It deserves, we show in the occurrence or the incident deserves, we show in commentary, attention, and so on. So for that reason, we have to give it full discussion as we possibly can. So with that, I pass it over to my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengat, who is also coming to on live. So he's going to take over. He's going to introduce himself, and he's going to make a much more elaborate introduction of the schedule for today, and we'll go from there. So, Mr. Mengat, back to you.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Shillon. Fambulem, in Akushe, in Akabo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Usaide. Again, as my co-host say, we not saying I don't miss we show, because the past couple of weeks, there were issues which are personal in nature, both for the lead host, Mr. Shillon, and myself have been celebrating a wonderful birthday just this past week. Also, we've been getting Mother's Day. So there are a whole lot of things, but we know say they look forward to this show. Me when they talk to us know me Victor Mengot. This show is international because me are based in Surrey, UK. My co-host is in North Carolina. We producer the Canada. And we know so we get beaucoup listener the way they Salon, Australia and all that places. So we're a global family. So today we can talk about this cotton tree. And when they talk about the cotton tree, we they talk about this what is symbolized for not just Freetown, but for the country. Because each city in the world gets a particular icon where they associate her with. When you talk about New York, you talk about the Statue of Liberty. That was a man-made structure, which was where the French people let me give to the Americans. And that Statue of Liberty, it in a prominent position where remind the people that we moved from Europe to America about the need for freedom. And as we know, with the same way with the cotton tree, where we all know say, now something was symbolic to not just Freetown but Sierra Leone. If we remember, say the tail will be get stamp will be the post, the cotton tree feature na boku stamp them. Even when we do postcard, I know say some of you have been getting pen pal, the way have been the rights to with postcard. We've been getting cotton tree picture and then postcard. So this is how important it is. The cotton tree also na a very good landmark in our country. And it get historical, cultural, administrative, and political significance. So we go talk both about the cotton tree in terms of, now make so we topic now say, fall of the cotton tree, what does it symbolize? We go talk about that, right? And from there, we go look at how it relates to even the structure of Freetown, the capital, how it's designed, and the settlement patterns. And then we will go into issues to do how we be known to manage this area and the role of the two parts of government, central and local government, the battle for survival and supremacy. The other thing part the cotton tree is legend in the Creole language because you know so they can talk about parable. You know, we get one parable where say cotton tree for them say it high pass grass. What's significant is then we get the other side when you talk about we they get boku rain, then say big breeze blow, cotton tree for them. You know? And also this is not the first cotton tree we done for them. Although this is in the center. I mean I live normally in a Wilberforce and cotton tree in Wilberforce, cotton tree done for the other side. Even as we talk this week, we hear say cotton tree for them a Kenema. But all that have to do with weather pattern, climate. But this symbol, this icon of the capital of Freetown, wait for them. It be not get disaster before because one time fire been there. What do you mean for we the people of Freetown? Prayers have been they don't say prayer under that cotton tree day. Some people they don't go away now. Say then they go pull juju day. All kinds of things that happen. You get vagrant the way they tap day. It's an area where attract people of different character, different symbolism, different beliefs. So from that, we want to talk about how we manage them here. Waiting at the significance. So we're going to now start by showing two important videos. One, where Brand Sierra Leone, we use the cotton tree for promote tourism. And the other one, we give eyewitness reports of what happened when the cotton tree for them. So from down there now, it will lead we now for talk about the historical significance of the cotton tree, the settlement pattern, and the planning of Freetown. So to control room, let's start with the video then, and then we can go ahead.
Good afternoon, Freetown. Hello, Washington, D.C. Viva Africa.
I'm here to give you a brief history about the cotton tree. It is located at our beloved capital, Freetown, Sierra Leone. It has survived the test of time. This cotton tree was the place where slaves used to pray and do their business activities, such as the barter system. There was a publication in 1960 about this cotton tree, which says, the branches of this cotton tree is 140 feet and the massive bowl of circumference is 30 feet. But today, it has grown more than that. This cotton tree is more than 500 years old. Before Freetown was named Freetown in 1787, it was first of all known as Romarong, meaning place of the whalers. Freetown is not Freetown without this cotton tree.
Good morning, Sarah. Good afternoon, Freetown. Hello, Washington, D.C. Viva Africa. Long live your power.
This cotton tree has been a symbolic thing to us. It was a historic and an iconic structure to us, the Freetonians. It is something that has been in existence even before our forefathers were born, and that shows that the cotton tree has been here for over 200 years.
200 years.
Well, Fambule, and I don't see then two clip here about the cotton tree. The first one, we na Brand Sierra Leone TV, it talk about the historical significance of the cotton tree. It talk about the relationship between the cotton tree and the people that way be not suffer in humanity under slave trade, where then go back, what the cotton tree means for them. He also talk about the size of the cotton tree and that imposing fixture we get. So that's something where we all remember. Even though they get in school match past banding, I remember last year I go match from a good school, St. Edward celebrate 100 year. The cotton tree in a place where we get for go round for head back na Kintom. So the landmark is very important. So now let's look at the historical significance. One thing we will say, right? The cotton tree exists. It don't in that place before the area what they call Freetown now in the capital city even exist or establish. We do research. That's what we do in this program. Some of their research and it come from different sources. And now look at the cotton tree as a landmark. For instance, me being get experience in aviation, like we plane the fly, we get to get visual flight rules. Where the plane they fly na then landmark then they look for locate them position. Similarly, when ship also they approach a place like Freetown when a coastal land, at then time then they in the 15th century, the cotton tree be always there. Some historians say that cotton tree there, Naina been like a landmark for the ship the way they enter, because that time they will not be get Wataki. Most of the people they land around Kinjimi government wharf area. So in approaching the coast for Can land, if you look at how the cotton tree situated, it's like a perpendicular to the landing bay for the ship the way they come. So that's how important that cotton tree they be. And don't stand the test of time. But let me make it clear, because part of the discussion we'll get for do today now about that Freetown area and the municipality who own them and who that did it. We know say people and they use political propaganda for saying that their tribe. Freetown not owned by any tribe. Right? It's a melting pot. When I say melting pot, now Usai all man they can meet. And Sierra Leone, before even the Wetman can, the Pedro that Sintra where they talk we come 1462. We've been longer inhabitants than the whole of Sierra Leone, including Freetown, for over 2,500 years. Mostly the Bantu group of people. So for the people that we come, now Salon, as a result of the one that we don't go suffer, because remember, we cut off arms, waiting there. Unity, freedom, and justice. Now that to me, that cotton tree they signify, because if you look outside there, next to them, now they will get the law courts. When they then they dispense justice. You go further up the hill, or you drive, now they will get State House. Where originally been named for taunting, say they call them government host when I did the governor been there. And ironically again and significantly, they next to the cotton tree, now they will get with Sierra Leone Museum. We'll be in the go school, we'll be in the go to that museum there, where you go see the statue of Baibure, who fought against the British. Significant thing in our history. You go see the culture, the Goboys, the holiday. So that one area there is very significant. The cotton tree at the epicenter of the city and also the administration of justice and governance. So now let's look at, for the people that will come, what in that cotton tree they symbolize. Because after the abolished slave trade in 1807, we brother and sister, we ancestors, them come back. The first sets now the one that we come from England. The Black Power will land in 1787. And now from that cotton tree area, they make their settlement because they started, because if you listen to the video where we do, they say that area they use them for butter. So the first people that settle around that area where we get present day St. George's Cathedral Church. Also you get the new City Hall. And all around that area there, say you get Wallace Johnson Street. Of course, Trelawney Street, which was named after a place in Jamaica called Trelawney. You get all them places, and then you get the center, right? Then you get for taunting. When a government, so people that settle in that area there. And also we hear say in 1792, a Reverend Nathaniel Gilbert been go pray under that cotton tree there. Now then he do the first Baptist church prayer. So that's the religious significance. And we know say we they celebrate cotton tree, we they celebrate Freetown, which is on there over 200 years. The cotton tree is very symbolic. So different story there about this cotton tree. Some people then say, as I been on talk away, they say big breeze blow, cotton tree for them. We get story where say if cotton tree for them, the effect is very significant. But I will not go into all length in a day. Before even this cotton tree for them, fire be not catch. We will see the mayor, we go the other people and go look them. So you will not get a hollow underneath. But one thing for tell God thank you, at the time where the cotton tree for them, not much traffic been there. So there was no life of property. So now look the settlement pattern. Because 1787, we get the first people in the London Black Power we go there, right? Then 1792, now the people them from Nova Scotia, they on the way help fight with the British them for fight the American War of Independence. Then self go there. So in other words, we hear that story where they said Freetown being called Roma wrong. The whale in place. So sometimes they go to that cotton tree there for go cry for the one day we be don't go. And for offer prayer and new hope. So the cotton tree symbolizes hope. In 1800, we get the Maroons from Jamaica. And not too far from that cotton tree there, now they the Maroons themselves settle. Now makes we get Maroon Church around that Pulteney Street area. We get Maroon Church there. Then you get the one the way when Whitman abolished slavery, women they come on at the bite of Benin, that dung Nigeria. Instead of them carry and go back, them bring they all can settle. So the people then settle. Hello, be thankful. Freetown are one of the first planned city na town. And if you take the grid, you want to look at the planning of Freetown, all start from the country as the epicenter. So people then start moving. So from that place there, you get Akani, where Akani start from that cotton tree side there, come through Pademba Road up to Christchurch. Then further after that, you get Podogi Town, which is a Portuguese town. So now some people then begin spread until eventually some go on the coast and all the rest of it. So the cotton tree, na symbol of culture, na symbol of religion, na symbol of administration, na symbol of governance, na symbol of justice. So for like for done so, and all that happen, it mean a lot for Sierra Leone, especially at the time where there's a struggle for the hearts of minds of the people of Freetown, for Uda go rule Freetown. We're going to be the main part of the discussion. So from this introductory side, I'll hand over to my co-host for letting self Rob Mott and this talk small.
Thank you, Mr. Mangot. Yeah. Now, I just want to make some ordinary observations. And I'm trying to make no observations here because I know how consistently we not seem forget high regard for historical values. We tend to just break everything, discard everything, throw away everything, and as if there is no tomorrow, we think very little for generations unborn. For most of we leaderships, I'm not even talking about the present leadership, but they are not excluded. Since independence, so we, the future is today. We don't think past or think beyond ourselves. We don't implement policies. We don't try to lay foundations that will stay strong for unborn generations. And what I always try to point out to we, the people from that tiny country there, is the fact that Sierra Leone is part of the world. So no matter how we handle them, Sierra Leone is going to exist for the next thousands, if not millions of years, for as long as the world exists. So it's up to us as to what stage or what state it will be 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. But one fact remains, it will be around. It's just a matter of in what condition will it be at that time. And the condition that it will be is up to us as to how we handle the situation right now. I can always give people an example. I have a Lexus 470 SUV that we bought brand new in 2021. This is the year 2023. My family still has that Lexus 470. My youngest son is 24 years old. He don't know of any time in life where that motorcar did not exist. He was about a year old when we buy the motorcar. It is the driver now. And this motorcar, because of how we hold them, drives like new. It's hard to believe. I can drive it to anywhere in the United States. I can drive it to California, where from a current location, it's about 3,000 miles. I can drive it to New York or anywhere. So I'm using that example for just to say, as a lot of times, how you hold what you get, if you cherish them, it will last. Of course, when me begin to take care of that motorcar, they may not think say me last, but when I'm 23 years old now, go grow, get sense, able for drive them, and maybe the way the car go, and you begin them might end up driving it. It's just a good vehicle, but we handle them well. This is the same spirit with which we for the deal with the country and with cities. This shortcut processing. Everybody want to break the rules. Let's understand the trend where we go by in Australia. We are not trying to strengthen regulations. We are not trying to strengthen rules. We are not trying to improve laws. We try to shortcut every process for achieve everything within the shortest possible time with the most corrupt motive. So nothing is done within the framework of the law. And that gets what we call cumulative effect. There is no way you go shortcut the process, will not pay a price. You take like Freetown now. Anybody who familiar with Freetown, how it was planned? We never had the kind of flooding what we get now. Because in the old days, they get levees, what we call them combo and gutters, then watch the flow from all the way Mantorial, all the way down to Circular Road, all the way past Pademba Road, out of water in the flow, the wetman then puts certain levees for take all that gush of water there into the sea. So if you go by Pademba Road, there are houses even below the street level. They never flooded. And now with the scene of Freetown, Congo Cross, everywhere the flood. Why? Because we decide for shortcut the process. We decide say, it don't matter, regulation don't matter. And so we see even currently we pay the price. And the thing that is so amazing, our officials then still don't get it. Now, people will build anywhere you allow them to build. The whole purpose of good governance now for protect people against themselves. Because the human tendency is you go want for just go and build and shortcut the process for convenience. But I make we get government for say no, you get for stand in line, you get for doing the right way, because we all go benefit. So as long as we know one for go stand back, one continue for build houses then amount Sugarloaf, one for begin build structures that are being built by ministers, by and get that phrase from higher office or whatever. The guys who should know better, who probably don't know any better, but they should know better. Who are building across the reservoir, creating obstruction for a free flow of water. So in the end, we all are paying the price. And people don't seem to have that foresightedness there, or that foresight there, for begin to understand, say, this is all in our hands. And we should stop saying, oh, God there, God go. God is upset with us because we're much too selfish. I don't go say we're stupid because he knows say we know better. With selfishness, with greed, it's so extreme. We don't seem to care. So no amount of prayer is going to save us from the calamity we would create for ourselves. Because the Almighty, the only distinction between He and we is extremely patient. Because the patient we get, if not mankind be get a patient, they don't damn we all. What would it take we on hands for destroy we own country? If we not sell with fisheries for next or nothing to foreigners them like the Chinese and the Vietnamese, we go for corrupt purpose, we would decide for deprive the inhabitants them, the indigenous fishermen them from a livelihood and the fisherwoman them. We're not put with thought process. Education has not done us much good. So these are some little comments them I want for to bring, and I want people to disagree with me. I mean, if they think I'm wrong. Now, this cotton tree we see right away, they don't begin cut. They don't begin cut. In a country like this, that cotton tree, them pieces and they will be of historic value. We get a lot of artists them where they make all kind of images out of wood. This is where we bookman and the fail with. Because if me not comment now, I know what will happen. All that cut they just go into air. That's the end of the cotton tree. Okay? Because nobody is thinking about the future. This is how reckless and unconcerned we are. We just not care. Okay? But it will be, I will be appreciative of if the government could take a pause, take all them pieces and do it in the cut so, store them somewhere, give opportunity to we artists them. If you go to big markets, if you go to Garrison Street, if you go to many other places them, you see where artists then they make fantastic woodwork. Give them an opportunity to see what they can make out of these things. Let part of the cotton tree become memorabilia. People can even put out with good workmanship can put it in the house for say that part of the cotton tree this. I know say if I not say that to us it's trash. Right now it's nothing but trash. That's how we look at everything. And the other thing is I know say if me not say that, unless European Union can't tell we say, hey, don't throw it away. We not get enough sense for no say, we forget we own historical pride. Because I will not forget. Now, European Union, they tell we say, hey, when I need for renovation on a parliament, so we will make a small, lily. When they meet the demands of the moment. Now, European Union get for country, we say, we need for expander, we need for modernizer. Now, European Union get for tell we say, hey, when I need for improve on a balloting system. This is how ridiculous we've gotten. No sense of creativity, no sense of responsibility, and every deal. Look at the current process. Extremely shameful situation. Something that should not have even happened is happening. First, me and my co-host will a question, why should there be a voter's ID card? There was no need for it. So we get so many bookmen in Sierra Leone. We always encourage them, come on this show, tell us why a voter's ID card is necessary. We're not the policy makers then. Since we're not the smart one, I want to get the PhD, and I want to know all this thing. Challenge us. Make us look foolish. Tell us why a voter's ID card is a necessity. When you get national ID card, you get driver's license, and you get additional ID cards. What other layer of security does a voter ID card add? Other than we just the copy. Monkey do, monkey does. This is what we're good at. With the copy things, we don't know the purpose and we don't care. And I want motive. But the most driving force behind it is corruption. If you follow the trend, they say this voter ID card was printed in Greece. It had to be brought to Sierra Leone in 2 chartered flights. Chartered flights for cards. Okay? And there are secret partners associated with the foreign why we need a foreign company for print voter ID card for we? With the print we own driver's license. We banks them. Rokel Bank and Commercial Bank. I think the Central Bank, Bank of Sierra Leone. They get a lot of IDs within the print for themselves. Quality ones. But when it comes to voters' ID card, we are so driven by ill motive and corruption. We say, oh, we're going to spend millions. Rumor has it that up to the tune of 5 million from print what we call rubbish. Absolute rubbish. And pridelessly, they call it a voter ID card. It's about time we begin to call the government on that kind of a nonsense here, because this is an insult to the intelligence of the people. You know, this is how much respect, of course, I will call it disrespect, but this is how much respect we get for the people that would the claims they want govern. So I urge the government, please don't throw away those remnants of the cotton tree, the fallen cotton tree, store them somewhere. Two, when I get some intellectuals who know what history is all about, since we don't seem to cherish much of that, for hang heads together, for see what we can make of that particular cotton tree day, or parts of them. We need that. And one quick thing before I pass on over back to me, co-host. The cotton tree, what happened was foreseeable. In law, we get what you call foreseeability. You can anticipate something down the line, that such a thing. If a person is driving Nashaka Stevens Street at 100 miles an hour in broad daylight, in the morning hours, in the thick of traffic, it is foreseeable that 100 miles an hour, he's not going to go far, he will kill somebody, or he will bang somebody, or he will cause a disaster. The law calls that foreseeability. So we can foresee, say, the cotton tree just not for them all of a sudden. There have been indications, just like where we as human beings who are sick, we can get some indications, say we're health to go bad, unless we do something, it will get worse. There in the world where we not believe in expertise either, it looks like, you know, now ego, now we own problem. There are people called tree or plant doctors. There is a name for it, but the name doesn't come to mind. These are people whose specialty is it to nurture and nourish plants that are going bad so they can come back alive. The cotton tree dog give with our indications they over 15 years ago say it was getting sick. You know, as my co-host indicated, if it don't get fire, you know, that don't happen. But what you would do, we take the simplistic approach for go put political advertisement. This is the shallow-mindedness of we people is just what amazes me. First of all, if we want really run our country well, we shouldn't even make the cotton tree, if it existed, if it was still existing, not a place for run any type of commercial or advertisement. But that's all we saw it for. Put president in picture, mayor in picture. These are all the nonsensical things. We need for up with game. We need for up with game. We need for begin take life in circumstances with some seriousness. You know, these are some of the things we now look at. Now, if there is such a thing as God is looking out for us, you saw what happened. Look at when that incident there occurred when they cut the tree for them. A serious disaster could have taken place had it been in the early morning hours when traffic is heavy. People may have been killed or seriously hurt. But it happened at a time when only one vehicle appeared to have been around. And even that, there is no indication that the driver suffered any injury. So the point is, with the play which will up too much, you know? So let me stop at this point because I can go on and on and on and on because I have so much on my mind with respect to how would they maltreat our country. I will not inject seriousness into trying to run it. I will not try to look for the best and the brightest to hold the responsible positions then where the country needs for meaningful progress. And I look at some interview about one of the people and what they claim said and get for, then they try to run for the city mayoral position. The co-host will give one of the history of, in fact, will not be the vote for mayor before. Shaka Stephen, again, where all headache started. Now him bring this political issue about mayors being voted for. You know, the white man are left with good structures, very good structure. American man then say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If something not broken, not try to fix it. Then left with good structure. If we not get the smarts, if we not get the level of education, if we not get the level of dedication for improve what in the left give we will have been doing fantastically well had we just left everything where they left it when they went away. Sierra Leone would have been one of the most progressive countries. Had we added nothing to Sierra Leone, civil service, education and structure, if we not be trying to change anything, just left and so the Westman Giwi, we would have been among the top countries in the world. But no, we get for sure with ignorance, irresponsibility, insensitivity, you know, greed, by turning the whole system upside down, not for the better. You know, here we are in Sierra Leone, a country as big as the United States, the richest country in the world, with we now get America now get 2 levels of Ministry of Education. Small salon. We get ordinary, we get Ministry of Ordinary, we get 2 ministers of education. This is absolute rubbish. And these are PhD guys who hold these positions. This is the advice that they give to government. This is not political patronage. You know, we get 2 ministers of education, higher education, lower education. This is all rubbish. Let them run that garbage there by a lot of other people who don't know any better. And this is all for political convenience for the president. We don't need 2 ministers of anything. We don't need regional ministers. This country was well governed with much less, a fraction of the number of ministers that we get now, and things ran smoothly. And with very ministers, some of whom were not even born yet when we get independence, and some of whom were just toddlers. They know that because some of them are PhD holders from some of the best schools. And these best schools don't put you out there because of you are an ignorant person. No, we know that. We know Senge, Wuri, these are PhD guys, well educated, they know better. But they are taking undue advantage of the current circumstance. Instead of giving the president the right advice, say, this is rubbish, Mr. President, we don't need 2 ministers. Oh, me a minister for this, me a minister for that. How? These are things that are unsustainable. We know that. First of all, the country cannot afford it. Second of all, it's nonsensical. There are so many offices we need for scrap if we want to do the country right. Office of Anti-Corruption. What does that mean? What's in anti-corruption? First of all, it has no meaning. There are many ways you can deal with corruption. There are a lot of countries who can follow in Africa. You know? Not to tell which man tell we say we need anti-corruption office. We get with your intelligence. People like me, I'm very well suited. I'm proud of my education in America. I'm proud of my participation in the legal system of this great country, that I can give 10 times more than any of these so-called big shots in Sierra Leone thinks say they can give. Okay, I can put me credential, I can put me experience, I can put me, you know, Muhammad Ali say, if you can do what you say, you ain't bragging. So anybody can take me on and see if I'm bragging or not. I've been a lawyer, practicing attorney for 47 years, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I've been in the contest of courtroom litigation with some of the best in the state. And when I see all this rubbish where they go on, then they take clients, people and they go plead guilty, then a stretcher, now we're a great country, Judges are finding people guilty when they're sickly. It's a damn shame. And all these things should be condemned. So I know I can't finish talking if I want to talk about how much bothers me and how much I know we can do for a great country. And we get all them fictional characters there with position of power who are harming this country. It's about time for people like me for call some of these people out. Now let me go back to you, sir, Mr. Mengot, because like I say, you get me fired up. I can't stop. You know.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, my big brother and host, lead host, Mr. Shillon. I know say you get such passion and everything. So for come back into context, because all the thing that we say, it come back to waiting one famous book we read in a school by the great Chinua Achebe, where say things fall apart and the center cannot hold. So we go back to the cotton tree as the epicenter. And for continue this conversation with the talk. One, just for let you know, during the time when this happened, we get announcement from the government in fairness to them because we like forgive balanced view. They say the big trees of the cotton tree, they don't take some, then carry and go to Regent Square Municipal School compound where they keep some there. Then they keep some at the old city council building. They don't talk with the Ministry of Tourism for decide what thing they get for do with them. So at least, let's give the credit, they're preserving the big trunk. Although the small trunk them, the people that are around it, the small wood there, people they don't begin, some people then take off course for go make firewood. Because not so, the splinters, they all lent in and they take them. But there's definitely the plan for them trunk them there. And as you say, law start to think how we go use them. The government announced it go do them. The next thing I want to talk about, even though they cut into it for them, you get the base which is still solid. You get that short part of, if you look at the pathway left, because they didn't have prominent position there, we get for how we want to do with that scenery there. So until we can still keep the base and do something artificial. I mean, you take Dubai, where na desert, then get them palm tree there. We can do an artificial cotton tree, right? On the base, right? Design them back. Using the base growth. That's not the key thing. So there are so many ideas. But it come back for now get we listeners into the main topic. Let us look at where this disaster happened. What my co-hosts don't say about so many agencies then. You know? We were when they watch them cowboy film, they say too many chiefs are not enough Indians. Now that's we get in our country. But on the day where they go do the disaster management, of course, then we will discuss it later. We get one person when he named the Ever Free Tongue now, as Mawan take over the city, we call it machinery. We can't thanks because I ain't get time for can help. Now in civic duty, but we not for use that for we not for use that for political capital because that is what we do in our country. Any way people then do, they use them for political capital. But then we get the disaster management agency there. I listened to the deputy director who was being interviewed, Mr. Rogers. So now that same thing there, you been get disaster management agency, the Freetown City Council, the Sierra Leone Police, the Army, and all other people in there. What does that show? It can't to remain topic what they talk about, the administration of Freetown. That symbolic authority, that local authority, where over the years, it don't become dysfunctional. And now, as present, we will continue with discussion. Now, a hot issue in the political debate as we approach the election. What do we want for our capital city? Who do we want to manage it? Who that want give responsibility? And how we go that place a living place. So, for continue, we come to this whole two. Don't talk about the cotton tree when at that center day, that symbolic one. It is now the city of Freetown. And the city of Freetown
May I interrupt you,
was
Mr.
created.
Mr. Mengot? Let me interrupt you a second.
Yeah.
I just want to alert the audience that the lines are open. Please feel free. You can call anytime. That's all. You can resume, sir.
Yeah. So when you take that city of Freetown, right, it's not only important to Sierra Leone, even important to the whole of West Africa, right? Because from 1808 to 1874, Freetown was the capital of British West Africa. And when we talk about British West Africa those days, it include Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and the Gambia. In fact, for a long time, they've been referred to Sierra Leone and the Gambia. For a long time, Gambia not been get secondary school. They didn't even have a military. Sierra Leone, we don't administer. So how were we able to administer those places? It's because of the structure where Freetown been get. Somebody said the remaining of the so-called tree is a trash and must be disposed of. What are we talking about? Yes, you're entitled to your opinion, sir. The remaining of the tree is a trash. You go call and tree the trash. Now the protruding part in the top. But you don't ever do a survey, because when you look at something, do you know the size of the roots and how the roots spread? How do you dispose
Well,
of it?
I wonder why you call it so-called tree. So you're not even consider a tree. What is it? Is it a car?
Well,
Is it a bus? Because it says so-called
Well,
tree.
that-
So it is not even a
well,
tree.
we do entertain all ideas in this place. So, I mean, that is what is filled. If it's to be disposed of, he's saying, what are we talking about here? That for that contributor, still continue for tell you what you want to do. Because the
Precisely.
problem again as I know now, even in social media, we have a lot of armchair critics. People will condemn and this not go work, that they not go work, you not go do that. You know, not to salon, not to we lifetime. So because of that, and a right time where this person interject, let's go back to historical perspective. How we get government in Sierra Leone. Freetown area, if people do not know, it includes even the island of Tasso. Tasso is part of Istri constituency. And you get for Cross River for go Tasso. It's on the way to Pepel. I've been there. Tasso and area is part of Freetown. So we get the administrative structure there. What we get. And what's in the administrative structure? Freetown was divided into wards. We get councillors, them, legendary people, them, right? Medical doctors, they were professionals. We not being get professional politicians, them, now the city council. Professionals who served as councillors. Like if you remember H.M. Broderick, he was a medical doctor. Yeah? Dr. Ojumens was at one time mayor of Freetown. These are prominent names. Go far back, people like Sir Samuel Lewis. You take the first female mayor, Constance Cummins John. And the interesting thing about this administration, you had people in city, the Freetown municipality, who were given their civic duty, civic responsibility. We get one with big name Nafrobe, Fataraman, who was an alderman. In fact, they named a school after him, Alderman Fataraman. You know? So these are people where being give duty to the municipality for preserve them. And then Another, I will still engage you, sir, because this is a two-way. How economical was this cutting tree to the people and country before God destroyed it?
How
Again,
does
it
he
comes
know
back
God
to what you
destroyed?
can say.
Well, how does he know God destroyed it?
Act of
Is
God.
it?
And an act of God. That's the African myth, yeah? But when you talk about how, if you ask how economical was the cotton tree to the people of Freetown, it was a tourism symbol. It was ironic. People go to Sierra Leone and visit the cotton tree. I remember I took some experts. We stopped at the fuel station, the BP petrol station for. He was so excited. He went and took pictures around the cotton tree. And when this cotton tree for he sent me a message for say, oh, what a pity. I remember the time you took us to Freetown. We were mad the cotton tree, the canopy, and all the rest of it. So that's the symbolic. But let's go back to the administration. Apart from these people who were professionals, we had lawyers, we had doctors, we have engineers who served as councillors, not like today we get career politicians, especially now when they don't begin pay them. So when they elect them, they themselves, now then they elect the mayor. There was no mayoral election at the time. And also, again, coming to our governance system, local government was a place for people and for test them political skills, debating skills, acumen, and administration in preparation for parliament and governance. Right? People like J.C. Taylor, right? Shaka Stephen himself was involved in the city council before he became mayor. Yeah, S.I. Koroma and all these people from both sides of the political divide served through the city council. So it was like a nurturing place for aspiring politicians. So you had aspiring politicians, you had professionals who run the city. And the city has been run for over hundreds of years, even before independence. Because under independence, what people didn't know, before we get the present parliament, we had the legislative and the executive councils. Yeah? The executive council was full of Europeans, a few Africans. The legislative council, they started bringing in Europeans, Africans, small. That was when we heard about the first chief minister, which was Samuel Timagai. Not we on today chief minister, which is a different thing to that. Chief minister was a prelude to the prime minister. So we had this administration. We had the structure. There was a relationship between central government and the local government. That is where we come back to me theme where they talk about, say things fall apart. Okay, when we had that, let's take people then down memory lane. What was the city council's responsibility at the time? So go take one of the first things we may do, where me as a qualified urban planner and transportation planner, we get what we call land use planning. Land use planning, and when you look at your land area, you zone them. You get area winner for residents. You get area the winner for business. You get the commercial area. You get the markets. We've been getting well-listed industrial estates. That's part of the city. If you remember then they will get nail factory. We get foam factory. We get Natco biscuits. Soap factory. So this is all what we talk about land use planning. You look at area, you zone economic activity, you zone social activity. All that was on municipality because they had what you call a structural plan. Because for do that, you get forget that structural plan where you do a zoning. We get areas that were preserved within the municipality. Right? Now, some of them when and there as you talk when my brother don't talk, me co-host. Then get agency where them bring we get teats, but you know the bet. Because we get what we call the national Protection Area Authority. The area they will talk about. And we go back to the national anthem. I can take one line from the stanzas. The hills and the valleys will echo our cry. But let's turn it around now. Instead of the hills and valleys echoing our cry, we are hearing the cries of the hills and the valleys. Because people, they don't build at the hills. They don't build at the valleys. From a college, being a botanical garden, where stretch can right down to academy school. Those were preserved area will get plants, different plant species then. Right? Like how we get Kew Garden in England. So these are all the things. That's what it calls land use planning. You plan the city. You zone the city. Then we come to even on the land use plan, you get housing. This now for the younger generation will not be know. As far back as 1798, in the city, there were 300 to 400 houses, right? What we call bodos. Them bodos, then are like, if you go places like South Carolina in America, New Orleans, that architectural style was brought to Sierra Leone. There are people who are talking about preserving them bodos. Some still exist. Why do we have an agency called National Monument and Relics Commission? Not only that, you go up hill station again when the Wetman then come, then build their own bodos. Some of them still exist. For God's sake, let's preserve those things. Somebody said, to be honest with you, I'm happy this tree fell. I was planning to cut it when I become president one day. So let's talk about how to make use of it. Thank you very much for that comment. So again, Freetown began a mixture of this Bodos architecture, where we all know some still there. But then we also get bamboos. I don't know how many people remember bamboos. Where now the African architectural style, we get thatch roofed, now called bamboos. But there was a time when they were talking about things in some area being get fire, where some of them bamboos are born. So city council now, at the time, been get a housing fund because they are concerned about people's habitat. So I don't know whether some of we remember, city council been again loan for people for replace them bamboos then they. Anyway, let's make a joke. We get a certain people who elect for the upgarret. So when they can get that loan there, then they build their host, they will call their long foot host. Where the host there on top, it's like on stilt. In top or top, and solid building. So that way you don't get money, it can now do the bottom and rent and end up. Because landlord know the bottom host, tenants they on top of. These were things city council were doing. Yes, again, this woman will still continue for entertaining. I strongly believe that conducting mayoral election is in one of the poorest countries on the surface of the earth is a financial misbehavior. We will come to that, my brother. Don't worry. We will deal with that issue. So, city council was responsible for housing. Then we get housing. Then we give loans for housing. That's what the city is about. I'm sure my brother over there, you know where you are. You get the local authority or state government where they provide social housing. In England, I will get them. That's the preserve of local government. But now, because they function, they no longer exist. That's why we not zone with country. We not get land them for us. Now business they mix. Not only that, let's take the planning. Let me interrupt here. Is there a caller coming in? Caller?
Yeah, we have callers.
Yes, sir. Yes, good evening. I name James Rosato.
Okay,
I call from Italy.
It's very good to have.
Mr.
Okay.
James,
Right,
repeat your last name again, sir. What's your last name?
No, I name James Rosato Camara. I call from Italy.
Okay, sir. Go on.
Yeah. One thing about the cotton tree now that, well, I know one for me misunderstood, but for me, I'm not been to see much more importance, you understand, for that cotton tree
Mhm.
day. I don't know, because I don't know where Sierra Leone, certain things that they profit the country, but will not be able for realize them. But to some extent, me not be see much much importance. So in other words, let me send the comment say I'm glad the way for them, because I was preparing when I'll be president one day. I will cut her down. You understand? Because
Yeah.
I don't see the essence. I don't see how they profit the people. I don't see I know how with man then they make places that we strategic, how it go benefit, make places for sidom, place for relax. Like that side there, if you say way that thing don't cut down for don now. They go make some side where they near state house. So they go make side where be say the president go come, so side way high, the president go carry go team up some side. You understand? For lay address people that will go there around, they kind occasion like who get lantern. So you understand?
Mhm. Good
Yeah.
thought.
Then in another way, I say, well, this one a platform we have also and encourage people there, because we don't get too many platforms there where they talk about politics. You understand? But we not get platform there where they try for profile solutions to the problems that we'll get in Sierra Leone. You understand? Me, I did somewhere where like I'm not able to forget that kind settlement it for last start something. I've been getting interested in talking about how they develop the raw talents. Now, if you observe now Sierra Leone, we don't get people who don't begin make motor
Elec-
car them. I don't know how you go
electrical,
call them.
electrical,
You understand?
electrical.
Don't get people who don't begin electric, yes, they don't begin manufacture things for we self
Mhm.
get scraps and other things them. So what we need now somebody will go that a platform where go able for concentrate on how we go able for build that human capital. You understand? How we go able for make use of those people, and we bring them on board on this on a specific platform, rather than we all engage on talking about politics. Let the politicians talk about the politics. You understand? It's going to be politics get for change. We're not going to talk about her anymore, because after this time, we get forget that kind of politics where they operate in Sierra Leone. We no more the politics not depend on lies. People that go can lie, other the one that we don't understand. Yeah, they do this, that this I don't do. So the changes with the bank. So now with the bank cross something for crossover to it and to a political system wherein every politician therefore be very conscious of a position we hold. You don't go meddle with that position anymore. And that is why we crave for. Sir?
Yeah, I mean the symbol show
Okay,
say
fine.
you time
Okay.
don't up. We'll come back later on.
Finally, let's go back to which are the try for say. Let we try for make a platform. We go try for encourage people that will get know-how, technical know-how, for spread them out for Sierra Leone, so that we will get that kind of technology. If you do oversee, they know say this nine they pay people there. It's not about politics, it's not about official jobs, but technology, technical jobs there. Electrical installation, things there. People that need for do we need for there. Thank you very much.
Well, Kola, thank you very much for your views, and we hope say despite you talk with you talk, you get ambition for be president, so you want cut. When you be president, you want cutting tree. That's fine. But also you talk about a podium for outside the president, they address the nation. We get some of those things are there. But again, just for what you say, me self here, in the transport sector, we will get a further program where we will talk about how we will
There is
use
a
the
caller on the
transport
line.
sector for youth development and improvement. So thank you for your call, and I think you can lead the other caller to the. Yes, Mr. Shillon, lead the other caller.
Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you call from?
Yeah, Mr. Shillon, this is Abdul call from Maryland. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the educating topic about the symbolism of the cotton tree. I just want to make my own submission and see how we will get along with the topic or give credence to the topic. Problem about Sierra Leone, one thing where I always they talk is we not preserve heritage. We lack that since independence from 1961 till date. All the leaders that we don't come, we not preserve heritage. By the way, I used for volunteer for the clean that cotton tree day in the early 80s with a group, one boy society group. So I know very much about it. We not preserve heritage. That is the problem with Sierra Leone. And if you can agree with me, Sierra Leone gets heritage sites well recognized by UNESCO. But the problem with us, we are paying lip service to tourism. That is quite different from within Ghana, where they preserve Elmina Castle, or Senegal, we then get a Gori Island, they get other heritage sites, and we then they go portray to tourists. Then the Kenya, the safari. Sierra Leone, I don't pay a visit to the Bones Island with students. I don't take a student now Kent. But I don't know if you know, Kent self get a slave site. I don't pay a visit. Them place and they in derelict. I don't go na the old grammar school na Regent. I don't also go na Charlotte, Usai, and Wallstatt. Them places then they na sign way for me attract tourists. This was the first boys secondary school in West Africa. Region. The first girls secondary school, we take people in Goody at the Charlotte there or the battles. But them places then they in derelict in Teluna for sure. And government says always they depend on donors. Even Fabi College site na Klein Town Day, they still a wait for World Heritage for start the reconstruction of that site. So they are not making the wait for the place go finally collapse before ever they pay credence to it. Bones Island not for now the same problem. That government will wait for the donor go fund a World Bank or whoever donor go fund them for them preserve them place and them place and then aside they go fetch tourism. Look the African Americans the way they go back. Yeah, would they take them go to a place? They are not attractive. You just go show them this is Boss Island. This was the first university. Yes, they are doing well now. You have people who are educated that are tourist guides. But for me, do more in that. When we set up a tourist guide institute, train tourists them how to portray them places to the heritage sites and they so foreigners, even school picking them where they go there, then picking them go there, then tourist guides and they go show them picking and they what was the significance of their sites there. Then train them foreign languages in that tourist guide institute for foreigners who are coming who cannot speak English. Train them. If it is French, if it is Chinese, Spanish, or whatever, you train the tourist guide so that they are well empowered, they are confident in taking tourists around, then show them places and they, then show them the essence and importance of them places and they. That witnesses will be proud and you go fetch money because some of them places and then are places that way go fetch money if tourists then go there because you go get resorts in there around them places and they where all these people then go. So it going for boost the economy through tourism. But we are always paying lip service to tourism. We always government out we always talk say we want to concentrate on tourism as for diversified economy. But we are not putting it into practice. I just like give that contribution there. And secondly, pertaining to I support Mr. Shillon about the printing of the about the ID, the cost involved in printing voter ID cards. That Mr. Chefs go there, they see the ID card, them they are worthless. But the problem is, like you get 70% of women them who are illiterate, and they cannot go for ID card. I'll tell you for free because they don't get nothing. My sister na Balamuya or Sandama Bolonto or Kamabai or Binkolo or Kalangba or Baskam, they're not going to go for ID card because waiting many do ID card. So these are the reasons. But if through education people get national ID card, I not see the reason why we don't forget an ID card. But now the illiterate rate was still very high amongst the people. I think that the reason that makes way government out to decide for print ID card. I just say I just make mention of that. But the ID card is nothing to write home about anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr.
Well,
as always.
thank you as usual. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I mean,
Go ahead.
just to respond to you quickly, yeah, we endorse all what you they say. It come back to, again, what me co-host always talk about when we create institutions. We get what we call the National Monuments and Relics Commission, right? Which is a national institution. And also some of these things that we talk about fall under the municipality, whether in or rural, western area. So this is where you need this collaboration between central and local government, which is the main bane of contention and argument and discussion tonight. Because the left hand and the right hand get for work together. If you want touch load, you not go use one hand, the load go for them. You get for use the two hand and for carry the load. So that is the issue what they talk about, you know. And most country get local government, they're very much involved. But then you have Ministry of Tourism. You get National, this one, Monument and Relics Commission, right? We get with tourism minister. We're well traveled, saying they go sell Sierra Leone outside. You understand? The other time you go hear you talk about domestic tourism. Domestic tourism starts with affordability. Then are the first thing. You get for be affordable, you get for preserve the site, you get for get the necessary transport for good day. It's also for be part of the educational system. That is why people don't know about education. For school picking them for they go on there and the educational trips. Like we in also, we in na Western Wall. We all know we picking them born here. Like all man go tell you the amount of money where they don't spend for them picking them, for do their school trips them. Where some na pleasure trips, some na historical trips, na historical sites. Anyway, another economically, historically, Constitution was highly valuable. Aesthetically, it was marvelous, and environmentally, a tree has multiple benefits, especially in this time of global warming. Thank you very much. So, unless you want to come in, I want to continue for with this idea of waiting the city council be do. I think I'll finish that, so the train no flow. It will still flow. The other two I talk about, because I don't talk about housing and infrastructure, you know, a key thing na any country na health and sanitation. What did we have? In a member, we've been getting dirty boxing. In those days, na freedom. You been getting dirty box all over the place. I can challenge with viewer then now with day. Let them mention notable area box. Because in my area, I live in a 2 area we been get dirty box. I live around Fifth Street, Regent Road. We been get one dirty box na Ranger Street Junction. There also me born at Fullerton, by Road Street, Elk Street. In fact, next to you, Fambule, Mr. Shilon. You know, we get dirty box there. You know, so they been getting small structure and they because I tell you Freetown have been populated. Where you go get you dirty, you go through and the dirty box. Then city council already where they can't pick them dirty then they. We been get people there where they clean street regularly. All the city council then duty. They will been get even one time been it start from colonial days because if people remember Freetown, apart from being called the Athens of West Africa, if you look at some other historical report, it's also known as the white man's grave. Why was it called the white man's grave? Because if you go Kisi Road, Bengon, I know that vividly, you go see rows of graves where white settlers were buried because of malaria. And malaria then days and day, and up till now, it's a major killer in Sierra Leone. And what causes malaria? Now we know the empty, we gutter them, and all that thing and they. Me as a small boy, when I've been going in the morning, now two I get for do routine. Everybody will get responsible for sweep your front yard, sweep your backyard, clean you gutter, tray water, they not make it settle there. Look around, but also in addition, we will get sanitary inspectors them from city council. And then get the one they will be called Combra because they get a canister at the back with a hose. When they go around there, also they spray carbolic. Even where you can go safe, you know, so we get them pit latrine there. When they go do that spray there, you can even tell them for them help spray you pit latrine. You know, so the city council was involved in health and sanitation. Not to talk about education, because a lot of primary schools were run by city council, and I think they still do. But then as you talk, we don't get these two different ministry, government, and I don't know how effective city council they where they look like school, because you get names of prominent councillors there, mayors there. You get Akibo Betts Primary School, you get Fataraman Primary School. You get in school and the way city council been maintained. But me own concern, based on my profession, somebody say 1 million at the junction of Fifth Street and Mountain Court, besides one of the society place. Fifth Street and Mountain Court, yes. I remember that day, I can tell you plain, I know that area very well because we get one man when I be A.B. Karim. We been get a wood lorry. So many man for that. So one of the interesting things is that city council be responsible for maintaining road. Right? And how did they do it? Because they been get city councils, been get engineers department, city engineers department, where they mean work with the PWD, Public Works Department. We will not get again, we will not get works here there again. Government not get equipment again. That makes so now where we get an aspiring politician where they can bring equipment for them thing and then they praise them. But we had all those things. People that know PWD works, PWD yard. In fact, the place we still call them PWD. There are so many parts of the country where they hear about PWD. I mean, Public Works Department, they get equipment. So City Council also been a maintain city roads them. You go to Freetown now, you see some of the roads them. It's deplorable, you know. And the other thing where interesting, when a city council responsibility, nothing that even done in a civic responsibility, now how you the name roads them. Now you're gonna sunside some mango build in host 91 build the host day or something 91 build the host. He named the street after himself. Sheku Drive, you know, Femi Turner Drive. How do they name the streets? My brother, to stop there, in your place, Can you just name you drive like that? So this was what City Council was all about. So before we go to the next part, for talk about the demise of City Council, I want let me co-host Rob Mott Small Pant, then Tiawa don't talk. Before we go to which I will call part 3.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Just very briefly, these are some of the things that we just mentioned. These are very well-recognized moments in we steady developments. As a matter of fact, just referring to the Box, one that came to mind, and I think it was very prominent. Well, I could think of two. When I was a little boy growing up on John Street, we saw John Street and one other street intersect. There was a dirty box there where I used to go to eat dirty all the time. But we're talking about over about 70 years ago, so I can't remember that. But there was one that should not escape with memory. There was a very prominent dirty box within a Battle Street, just as you approach the end of Pademba Road, where Pashaki convert. These are some of the criticisms we get. They convert that location, where they go to a Battle Street. It take a bill owes for girlfriend. This is a fact. Nobody can dispute that. Anybody who know the history of that place. This was just close to where
I know the place very well, and I know the lady where he puts the but name withheld.
Yeah, I know the name too. I just decided for we told the name. But this is how uncaring or how much lack of respect will people them get for we people them. You're not president. The box there for the convenience of the community. You just go, you decide, say, ambulance for my girlfriend now. And without any shame. Just did it. And gradually, this is how all then progressive ideas here, instead of we improve on them, started fading away, not replaced by anything else. So these are some of the things. Some of we get first-hand knowledge of them here. It's good for me when we call them people them out. So we, the much younger generation, and remember now, I was when I got interested in politics, I was just a teenager in Bo. When me joined APC in those days, I was a little boy. But think of Pashakida generations. What did they had? What did they do after they take independence from? We just corrupt the system, mess up the system. For generations now, we are trying to find their way around. So this is not a matter of criticizing. People should understand. But you cannot talk about progress without talking about the problems and the causes for backwardness. You know? So the gentleman who called, who said, I'm appreciating candor, where he called, we say, Naimbi say, and when he become president, I hope one day he becomes president. You know? I hope he get a vision. But to be able to get a vision for your country, you have to have a good sense of history. You don't have to be knowledgeable of history, but certain things have to mean certain things to you. Because things don't happen by themselves. Certain things have meant certain things to people as they grew up. So me just encourage that caller day, continue for listen to we. And Mr. Mustafa mentioned so many things. I mean, you know, they lack this spiritual will not get. Like you say, Senegal, Ghana, then they make a big thing about the slave trade, which is true, which is correct. But we are not left out. Bones Island will beget many relics of slavery. Now the seashores, we didn't attach any significance to them. People came, stole them, took them away. And we still, like you say, there are places in regions. If we talk about tourism, but what Mr. Mustafa says so, he just tell we Minister of Tourism has no concept of what tourism should be and what it is. Plain and simple. That's what the problem is. Because how can we be talking about tourism, not inclusive in with tourists repertoire. Now the false boys secondary school, CMS grammar school. How people enough to know USA and the world started. The first girls secondary school in the country. How people enough to know USA Frabe College started. Like you say, we pridelessly, shamelessly, the wait for which man for can't tell we. Say, this now in our history. We don't need for telling her. And we don't need handouts. You know? Frabe College, like you say, the old Frabe College in a Klein town. If people don't tell you, you will know that it started there. I mean, there's so much wrong with the system. And then this guy's coming to this system with this PhD nonsense. That's what gets me so upset. Because what good is this PhD? The average Pekin at Sierra Leone, we're born at the most extreme area, as far east as we can do, Kwendu, Biodu, Manoa, Kono. We're born here and there. By the time he finished high school, should have been able to travel to Freetown as part of an educational process and see this old relic where it is shameful also what we call a museum. The average Pekin should have been able to make a trip to the capital city from any part of the country where born. We're not incorporate that into our educational system. In fact, we are holding generations down. And then these guys want to impress you with their PhDs. PhD me foot. You know? So I have nothing but contempt for a lot of these guys. I'm sorry to say. And until such time, what we will begin to take into account with young ones then and try for let them be part of the history of a country, like what Mustafa said, for begin teach people, picking them tourist guides, teach them additional languages, you know, incorporate into educational structure French, because we get a neighboring country. We don't have to make it mandatory, but you can make it optional. So a good percentage of picking them go learn how to speak French fluently and write them. We are missing so many things. And all of this because we are waiting for the white man for can't tell we. Oh, it's about time you do this and that. You know, this is me resentment. And then we get there and guys here where they come with then high name school here, they can't tell we, then get all them big degree. We not see, and the Englishman said the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Well, we're not to see the productivity. So these are some of my own dissatisfaction. Don't come out here scaring us with big degrees from big schools. We don't see how people don't spoil the system. Look at the legal system. Smart guys, certain lawyers I don't want to name. Instead of them trying to improve the system, what did they do? They try to break the fabrics of the system. Now we get a totally inept judicial system. When you get a man like Kamaremba, whom I've never met, I don't know much about the man, but I know say injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. That this man had to, a member of parliament, of all things, had to stay in prison because they say orders from above in the judiciary, and that order did not come from the Chief Justice, who supposedly should be the most powerful man in that area. Our country is in danger. You better take things seriously. So the lawyers that then they refer to back home, they're bright guys. Oh, if they're so bright, why don't you guys protest the fact that Kamaremba is in jail, being held unconstitutionally? Aren't you concerned? You're waiting until your relative gets involved in that situation there. What orders from above can it be if it doesn't come from the Chief Justice? And if it came from the Chief Justice, why should he have such arbitrary power that he can use it and misuse them? You know? And there are all kinds of rumors that Kamaremba in detention is in the hands of one particular individual who has nothing to do with the judiciary, who has nothing to do with the law. And the legal profession doesn't seem bothered by it at all. They just move on. You get lawyers like Safa Abdullah. Now you represent Kamaremba. This man was brought to court. First of all, he deserved a jury trial. why any lawyer in Australia would choose bench trial is beyond me. I like for debate that in there with you because I tried hundreds, if not thousands, of cases in the United States. So I want a lawyer to convince me why he thinks a client who is charged with crime of political overture has more justice coming from a judge, when the judge themselves don't realize that when they sit on a case, they are serving a dual purpose. They're sitting as a jury and as a judge. They're sitting there trying to give legal opinions on motions involving the law, as well as deal with factual situations. This judge sits there, they think they're just there as judges. It's all about the law. What about the facts? You know, you get some big name lawyers and they say these are good lawyers. I don't see the trial skills, I'm sorry to say. I don't see the trial skills these lawyers are demonstrating, you know? So
thank you very much, sir. I always enjoy your passion when they talk about maladministration, you talk about injustice, access to freedom. I think, sir, we don't get, I mean, for now, we don't talk about waiting to happen at City Council. Briefly, how did it deteriorate political interference? Shaka Stevie, not just the City Council, even interfere with the paramount chieftaincy, where chieftaincy was hereditary. It began appoint paramount chief. You understand? The paramount chief system collapsed under his administration. But Fambula, we don't get at the background what City Council for do. We don't tell you how political interference then caused the problem. And now look at now, as one of the callers then say, programs are like this now for look at situation. But before you look at situations, you have to look at what you call root cause analysis. Waiting cause that situation there. We don't talk about them. Political interference, the struggle for power, bringing people in. We don't know much about the civic history of the place. We hear a certain individual they talk say, which is all divisive, of Freetown and then Limba and Timinigeta. You got other people and where they question say, not to create no more for big mayor. And let me make it plain in this program. There's nothing in our constitution or any law we say for big mayor of Freetown you for big Creole. It's not possible. It stems from history. Because the Creoles have been the main settlers at that place there. And they had access to education very quickly. They were familiar with the European system of governance. That's why they dominated the city council. And it has been a convention from both sides that, okay, these people, this is their home, let's give them a chance. But there is no law in Sierra Leone which say you get to be of a particular tribe or Creole for be male. No. We would not buy it. Then secondly, no one tribe can claim ownership of Freetown. Freetown is the capital. Everybody who is a Freetonian, you get people that went at Timini, were born at Freetown. Although them people in Como or elsewhere, they've never been to their homeland. They never even talk their language. Because you get different tribes that were settled. Remember, I can tell people that. You get the Mendes, they all call them up the hill. Yeah? You get the Timinis and the Fullers then. Now Fulatong so come out. You get Bambara Tong. When are the Bambara, the Madingos, they come out. You go magazine, you also get the Madingos. That's why you get Madinga Mosque there. You get area winner for the Soso. Yeah. You get the Limbas that were settled around that Main Street area. I grew up with them and around even Brookfields. So you can see, because when people then go to a certain area, then congregate to people in there. So in Freetown, you go say, you get Mende, Timini, Limba, Fula, Soso, Madingo. So now forget about this idea for begin tell with people and say, now one or two tribes get Freetown, or now one tribe get for be mayor. We in this platform not subscribe to them. Some of us, people like me, I'm born and bred in Freetown. Born na Fulatong, begin men na magazine, tap na Bambratong, Central One, live na Western, Eastern. So I'm a true Freetonian. So Freetown are for all of us. So now the concern of Freetown. But now the last part of this program, we say when the collapse of local government, not just Freetown, it happened all over, Bo City Council, when it collapsed, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the TRC, one of the things is to restore local government back. And we first election in 2002. When at that time we get the first civic election. And then we decide to get the Local Government Act 2004. Where if you look at that schedule in that act there, Schedule 1, it shows certain responsibilities there where the central government get for transfer to the local government. Things to do with building permit, which was what I talked about earlier. Land use planning, building control, health and sanitation, sand mining. Sand mining are one of the things where they deplete with coastal lines. We don't see
Thank you
videos
for
there.
repeating San mining.
Yes. Sansan, then Sansan talk there. Let not use the English channel. Then Sansan talk the way they go to beach, then different beach there. Levuna Beach. There was a video going around where they don't dig Sansan to the graveyard, where they near the coast. We see coffin and the float because they don't deplete the coast. These are possibilities for local government, whether it be Freetown urban or Freetown rural. Looking after our cemeteries. In Sierra Leone, the place there anywhere I can tell somebody I make a joke that now one place in Freetown where the dead don't rest in peace. Because then they go dig graveyard. If they see a rich man die, they'll go dig your coffin, tip some of the thing them. One time in the way they say that they even go dig some of the bones them for crush pankush. This is how we not value life, we not value the living, we not value the dead. So now, this government can power with new direction. One of the things where they try for do, first they try for pass a law. Say, it come back to that elitism. Where say, if you want to be mayor or chairperson, you get forget degree. Then they know all water. Because people then kick against them. Some of we broadcast about that. If you want to be ward councillor, you get forget waske. What do you mean by waske? Then our West African secondary school certificate for the younger one. For we know about GCE and A level. So that for sure how the educational system don't change. Then to crown it all, they don't review the Local Government Act where all the devolved powers of local government, they don't centralize them back. Including one of the most important things, they win a land. For God's sake, we see government election, they come. Then they go make land for auction for people, Okada man. They may not make auction for Uda them. Let's take the Okada land where they auction. Let's take a reality. An Okada man, you auction land, you give that man land. The money income on average for day, if we take it in terms of loans, the most he go make, right? Now 80,000 loans a day. That's after he don't pay all things. That if you work hard. So if you take 80,000 loans a day, if you take the current exchange rate at 24,000 loans, which 24 new loans to $1, that man does not even earn $5 a day. So I want to ask you, expect when they earn $5 a day, you get a land leg go below. Does that make sense? It don't make sense. So we for the question. And by the way, in free
Hello, control room. Tell us, Mr. Mangot is frozen.
Make
Can I jump in? Oh, okay.
lots of land. Yes, sir, you can jump in.
No. I thought you were frozen at one point. That's why I was asking. But go ahead.
Now, okay. In less than 30 days, a presidential election, we dey also get the mayoral election, we dey get election for councillor. But Freetown, we get the first female elected mayor. When I say elected, we don't get female mayor because the previous mayor them, one have been Constance Cummins John, the first one, where he become mayor because now impairs them elect him. Then we get June Horace Rones, where he be not actually mayor but chairman of the city council. Then at the time where the Shaka Stephen abolition. So now we get this dynamic lady where don't serve for 5 years, right? And we get another gentleman who is much talked about, where Naina the challenger. So both people then they come for cast stand. So first of all, let's play a video if the control room they hear we about the man we say he want can rescue Freetown, waiting at Envision. Control room, sir.
If you win, what would be your plans for the first 100 days in office?
My first 100 days, first of all, I have to make sure most of our high streets, yeah, are lights, with street lights. You understand? You know, with some boy, well, you know, when we're growing up, we have that music they call Freetown TP Collection. You know that tune? Well, Lord have mercy. That's a tune. Damn say, yeah. Freetown TP Collection. We really need to get back to those days, my brother. My brother, growing up in Freetown, telling you, we really need to fix our Freetown back. You know? Our social life. You understand? Let us have street life. Let us build the municipal schools. Yeah? Water for everyone. My first 100 days, my brother, boy, Gentle is a Yankee boy, oh, I'm a young boy, Freetown boy. Don't worry about that. Well, you know what I mean? Hey, Lord have mercy, we're fixing the problem. And we're fixing it the Freetonian way, with style. With style.
All right, let's just allow you to speak to Freetonians as to why should they vote Mohammed Gentle Kamara as the mayor of the municipality Coventry.
Mohammed Gentle Kamara have what it takes. Mohammed Gentle Kamara have been there, seen it. You understand? Mohammed Gentle Kamara is the Bobo Pain that have succeeded in life, that knows your problem. You understand? Mohammed Gentle Kamara is that Eastern magazine Kisibo. You understand? That knows how to fix the problem. Because I've been through it. I've gone through it. My brother, I went to Kisi Primary Municipal School. I went to Ahmadiyya Muslim Secondary School. Yeah. You know? I'm telling you, I know it. If you don't know it, if you don't feel the problem, you will not be able to fix it. This problem not supposed to where you need proper man. You understand? And where they fall in sleep, get to the ground and fix the problems. This is not a desk problem. This is a proper CEO problem. Somebody that is result oriented. You understand? And that's who Mohammed Gentle Kamara is. I've done things. You know? Grassroots, East Lions team manager, Leon Star team manager. You understand? All of those places, when I was there, people saw the differences. When I was about to build Ilcott Road, people said it's not possible. Mama, come on. Hey, boy. Look at it. I've done it. My brother. For me, it's only impossible if you think it is. We should fix this problem. And we're not fixing it for nobody, but for ourselves. So, Pretonians, make your choice. Your choice should be Mohammed Gentle Kamara. Because you know me. You've heard about me. You understand? You know I'm a result-oriented person. Come on. The other day I was reading some article about our sister, was part of the Hilton Hotel, Cape Sierra Hotel construction. Look how that, come on, for God's sake. You're comparing someone that has demolished Sierra Leonean jobs. Over hundreds of Sierra Leoneans that were working at Cape Sierra Hotel. Not only you demolished the building, you demolished Sierra Leonean jobs. You're comparing that person to Mohammed Gentle Kamara that is creating jobs. My brother, come on. We need to be focused. This is Pretonians. It's about us. Let us fix this problem. Let us fix this problem. It's about competency. Anyway.
All right,
Okay.
Mr. Mengod.
Yeah. We actually, it come back to what we talk about the kind of people that we want put in themselves for leadership in our country. Right? Let's look at the question where they ask them. They ask and say, what you go do in the first 100 days or everything or whatever? It's more about himself. Oh, me na Yankee boy. Me na Bobo Payne. I've done it. And mention the other person. He not give a vision. He not give a mission. He not tell me what he want can do. He just say he get a track record. He get a track record waiting at this track record. Which he not tell me. Me na Eastern boy. It's not about you. It's about serving the people. Right. If you don't even want to talk about yourself, you talk about High Street and Ingo Light Street. How you want to do that? We don't know. So let me take on that. If you want me for say assess just this short interview, because they say you cannot judge a book by the cover, as somebody we born and bred in a Freetown, he not convince me say he even knows what as an aspiring mayor of Freetown for be. Probably is new in the scene. Not so we all eloquent. I'll give her the due. Not so we all sabi talk. But as a politician, talking and communicating is the tool of your trade. If you're not able to master it now, how you go convince voters? I go left and that way there and get your own opinion. Because we don't almost come to the 2 hours of the show.
Yes. Yes, sir. Well, just for add just a little bit to what you say. There are ways people are judged. Most times, not subjective ways, meaning we make an assessment by people in appearance and their ability for articulate or for say what they get in mind. So nobody is opposed to Mr. Gentle, whatever language he chose to express himself. Like we say in a Freetown boy, born at Freetown. So influencing Creole should be such, because there was a time when we be small, we would grow up. APC began one renowned speaker by the name of Bobo Kamara, who was uneducated formally. But Bobo Kamara used to go up to FBC and everything, and when they say Bobo Kamara, they come, now then university campus or high school campus, people in the gather, all the Bukuma, they want to hear Bobo Kamara because he was such a smart and articulate person. In Creole, so at the very least, we expect Gentle for be able to express himself in the language we all know, when a Creole, and being Freetown boy, for espouse a vision of how you see Freetown today. How was Freetown yesterday? Now, when you the Gentle grow up in Freetown, I saw it be time. If not so it be time, what did you see wrong with them? And how, what did you plan for making a comparable city to other cities in the world? That's the kind of vision we want somebody to articulate. Instead, and then first of all, you get to be able to identify the problem. But instead, you come, you say you don't do things. Well, on a one-to-one basis, you say your opponent destroyed jobs, which may be true. Because I know about the hotel, I don't know the history. It was broken down. Yeah, it used to have employees, quite a number of employees there. It was broken down for years, nothing happened. That to me indicate bad planning. But I don't know the history why then broken down, displaced people from their employment. Then for years before they come back with this Radisson Blue or whatever, years later, put people out of work. I can understand that. But I would have thought Mr. Gentle would have told us for draw the difference between him and an opponent, for say, I am a job creator. I have created so many jobs. Cite us the instances you talked about, Hillcourt. Is that the only time you've been able to do something monumental? And if so, yes, I think we do. We'll take one more call. But let me just finish this statement. Is that the only time you can able to cite anything monumental? The construction of Hillcourt Road? And if so, how many Sierra Leoneans did you employ? For how long? How did your employment add to the total improvement of the city's economy and the country's economy, as opposed to your opponent where you claim? This is how you talk to people and espouse a vision. Tell us what you want. You want Sierra Leone for look like, you want Freetown for look like Lagos, for look like Accra, for look like Abuja, for look like Nairobi. Give us a vision. Don't start telling us you're a Freetown boy. That's not good enough. Don't start telling us you do something for Blackpool and Eastern Lions. That's fine. If you come up Freetown, you belong to one of them two teams and the people are passionate about it. But so, to me, it's a great disappointment. For listening to Mr. Gentle, I think he should just stick in his field, whatever he thinks he does best. But I don't think Gotu Eriso, if he were to become mayor, unless we are not serious about advancing we country and we city, I don't foresee any progress whatsoever. Again, as usual, I get passionate about things, but we're coming to the close of our show. I don't want to stretch the time beyond what is already, because this is a 2-hour show. I think it's exactly 2 hours. So that said, I have nothing further to add. And I think the control room asked me if we can take one more call, and I said yes. So yes, caller, what's your name? And what's side you call from?
Good evening again from my side. This is Freedom Star from Leicester. I want to thank you again for the show. I just want to add something because I read someone got say they don't. For be educated with a degree for mayor in the new local government act. I know this is full more. I feel it's stayed not just like a lot of laws in the country where you did the good books of the government, you can get away with it. But it stayed. That one, if it stay, because then say they be one, for improve on governance and other things. Now something we stay. I don't say them pull them. They in the because I be read they talk about that. Secondly, what we hear about this Maya about this statement? Me, I know they listen to propaganda. I thought it was a joke that somebody would ask you, say, hey, oh man, I want to go do this year, the first 100 days in office. He's talking like that. I thought it was a joke, but to me, that just shows the way they vote now alone. Because you go see back, the people the way they support the SLPP party, they don't want to know. All what they know is this man represents the green. They go vote for him. Even when they see a very competent somebody stand against this person, it's not their concern. So and they go back to the presidential, whichever thing. People are not using ideas to vote. I mean, issues to vote. They just vote who that the party. This is it clearly don't manifest because I don't know if you know about that. They invite them for a debate, CRI. He say the good day. In party say the good day. Now he write a letter for talk say they not be informal. CRI write a letter in response with the exchange wey dem don get, whether dem go give the letter na in office to the SLPP Secretary General wey dem sign for the letter say dem get. Now im dey go talk by im own press release say e no know about the debate. You see the type of politicians that are coming, they wan come to power, e dey lie so blatantly to the people. Wey CRI try to counter am say no sir, we give this letter, una receive this letter, na in una party talk say you no dey take part, but we still dey try for encourage you for let take part in the debate because na you own advantage. Now this number one add to the show. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Mary.
No problem.
So I think my co-host don't talk so we get we don't go well over the 2 hours. And again, in fairness, as Englishman can say, one swallow does not make a summer. Mr. Ahmed Gentle Kamara, yes, your intentions are good. You want to stand for mayor. And the people then we get access to them because we not get access. We hope say get supporters then how they listen to we. We go very much want for host them. Let he can tell we. Invitation is open to them. Sometimes at the time he not be able get in thought process together because not to all my able handle interview. So long guarantee you. But we will welcome you to come on our show and for discuss your vision for Freetown. So in my closing remarks, what I go and say where we for go further, just like what the last caller say when I talk about the new Local Government Act and the interference of central government, is that we get for look at how we city they govern. We get for look at waiting a government in role. In the past, there was clear separation of powers and lines of responsibility between central and local government. Local government get the right for raise taxes, albeit reasonable. But for God's sake, these so many layers of agencies and ministry, now take the present local government or the Freetown municipality. It is under the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Affairs. But then they also create another ministry for Western Region. We obviously go supervisor. And for God's sake, one of the main functions of any local authority, now building control, land use planning, we get for now bow to the new Land Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Housing and Planning. So until we look at a lean government, a government fit for purpose, we give local government the due responsibilities, we get a proper coordination. Freetown at the capital city, so it's not just for the mayor, now the seat of government at the president day. When like your host, if any president not concerned about freedom and in development, and we use them as political football, we people then go continues for suffer. So all I go say, we wishing all a good week, and as election they come, stay safe, be peaceful, not involved by violence. Make sure say you watch your neighbor. Say also as na rain season, try for protect yourself and let God preserve in all. And next week now, we'll come for look at the two big boys, APC and SLPP, because APC don't publish their manifesto. SLPP don't publish them. Then get a 5-point plan, and we expect APC this week. If we're able to bring guests, we will bring guests. But we want to look at Papa government, waiting now the team where they mean for people there for the next 5 years. 5 years. So from that, this is my final word. I don't know if my co-host want a closing remarks. If not, we bow out gracefully. So for me, I say tata.